We always talk about real people getting real results, which is why today we're talking about building real community and why it matters for your business. What's up, FlowChat fam? Hey, Chris Baden, CEO and co-founder of FlowChat. We are a sales tool built by sales pros that help you with all your one-on-one conversations, mostly in direct messaging on all the major social platforms. And today, when we're doing all these conversations, community is something that naturally grows and is a huge part of building brand and tribe and the whole movement that we're building. And there's no one better than a fellow FlowChat fam, friendly person we need to bring on as expert, and his name is Timothy. Timothy, how's it going?
Hey everyone, thanks Chris, appreciate it. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, heck yeah. So we've got to have a couple conversations behind the scenes already, and Timothy is one of he's so natural. And there's this element that I want to start on right off the bat with everyone around collaboration and why all of our communities need collaboration. Timothy, can you elaborate on that?
Hey, when it comes down to communities and building your brand and just making sure that everybody's alive and moving and interacting, we love introductions, collaborations, referrals. We all love that, right? So when it comes to communities, one of the best things that we found is to play games, gamify it, create a referral ping pong, introduction, have some fun with it. So we're doing a lot of that right now, and community is really coming alive because of it.
So you'll get to hear more about Timothy's story as we go. I definitely like to run content that's like, come on, like give me the good stuff in the first few seconds. And so for everyone's listening quickly, but the essence of what Timothy is talking about, even in our first meeting, he's not just talking about good things and great ideas. He already executed on it. In fact, he's already made intros for me from the first conversation that we had. So I just made another couple intros earlier today. I'm someone that does it not quite daily, but certainly weekly, almost daily. And it is one of the number one skills that has helped me build community and actually survive now for 10 plus years employing myself and others, is this ability to collaborate, to network, to build community, to learn how to be of service. So where did this journey start for you though, Timothy?
Yeah, for me, I was a nonprofit leader, a community leader, and just loving on people. I was a pastor for 15 years, Chris.
Well, that will do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, I just enjoyed the leading in that way and really pouring into people. And then I also was able to buy, build, sell a couple of businesses.
That helps.
I found that there's a little bit of crossover in that community element, right? So from there, yeah, just kind of rocking and rolling.
Well, I got excited there. Sorry to jump on your toes a little bit, but that triggered a couple thoughts for me, because as you're saying, we're talking nonprofit and then we're talking for profit, and you said there's some similarities. Can you articulate, one or two of the similarities you were seeing?
Well, number one, people do business with people. People need to trust you in order to do anything of significant value with you. And even if they say they're doing along a journey with you, if the trust level isn't growing, that's going to be short-lived. So whether it's business or nonprofit world, doesn't matter. We got to build that trust, and marketing is the game that I play in to kind of make sure that we can have this trustability factor in an authentic way, right?
And how do you define marketing, Timothy?
Pre-sales communication.
That's actually probably one of my favorite definitions. I started in sales and then discovered marketing half a decade into my sales career. I was like, this is amazing. This makes sales so much easier. So pre-sales, what are some of the best practices for marketing that have worked for you?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of times we'll talk about prospecting and sales and marketing kind of all in the same, and they are obviously directly connected, right? Mm-hmm. But the pre-sales or the pre-decision communication is branding, visibility, promotion, nurturing, these kind of things. And usually they're done in that order. You're establishing your brand, then you're becoming visible when people are trying to look for you or connect with you. Then you promote. Then you start nurturing your audience, which is, I love, that's where FlowChat comes in. I mean, just be able to just nurture those conversations, keep everything going. And so we love that. We just love that.
This is true. When nurturing, Like, I mean, some best practices there. What's the best way to nurture leads? That might not be always intuitive to everyone.
All right, so I might step on some toes here, but I'm just going to say it anyway, because bottom line is this: we have to have a multi-channel approach. We cannot just pound somebody with 13 emails in 3 days. Like it's just not. We're beyond that. We're more intelligent than that now,
Yeah.
even with our technology. And so everything that FlowChat does, everything Giver Marketing Network does, everything we all do is relationally and intellectually, and it's intelligent. So at the end of the day, we got to be able to follow up with multiple channels, multiple platforms, multiple ways. Text messaging is pretty hot right now. It might be for a little while until everybody's phones start lighting up to a certain point. But you know what? Until then, we just want to make sure and have that genuine, authentic conversation wherever people already are paying attention.
Makes sense. Go where the attention is and be on multiple channels. You know, as you were saying that, a very brief story comes to mind. Many years ago when I had a brick and mortar insurance agency, direct marketing, like the mailers, right? Mm-hmm. And this is proving your point on just using multiple channels. That's the main punchline of all this. And I was like, no, I'm not spending money on direct mailers. You know what I do with those? I take them, they don't even make it in my house. I take them out of the mailbox and I put them into the trash and then I walk inside. And I've got a trash can on the side of my house. So I was like, why am I going to spend money this on marketing? And here's the problem with them. They work. A percentage of them still work. And so is it, and then I got people that came in the office, they're like, hey, you should, be on a billboard. It's like a billboard or a bus stop. But when you start doing, like you saying, that branding, that pre-sale process, and you're on the bus stop, you're on the direct mailers, obviously more and relevant and current to like what you and I are both doing, email, SMS, ringless voice message, social platforms. Oh, I'm on this one. I'm on that one. People laugh at me. See, I've got my command center over here, and all my communication channels are on the left screen with the freaking all the tech. To your point, is let people communicate the way they want to communicate, and there's some power there. So I appreciate you sharing that. I'd like to hang on collaboration just a little bit more, and before we go down that path, just know what's coming with Timothy in this conversation. If you're already into it, then you're going to continue to like this, because where does new blockchain technology meet with building community? Timothy has some really interesting insights. That's my open loop for the conversation. We'll return to that. But coming to back to collaborations, Timothy, obviously you've done a great job at facilitating like actual real community for over almost 2 decades. What does it look like from online to offline? What was that transition like for you?
Yeah, it was interesting because about 2 years before our current health crisis, that will remain nameless at this point because I'm just tired of saying it. Yeah. But years ago, I ended up making a decision that conversations needed to start online, and then, if at all possible, end up in the room in person at some point. But it's not always possible. So I needed to create a system basically that allowed us to have community online, connections online, and then if we could meet in person, that's a bonus. I always think of the 5 senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, right? These are things we learned in 5th grade, right?
Yep.
So if I'm in a room with my church family, or my religious family, or whatever, or even just my family, like we're having a conversation that is designed to have a full effect. Right?
What do you mean by that?
Like, if we're able to give a high five, handshake, and a hug, along with they can see us, hear us, maybe we're grabbing a snack.
Full effect, like more than 2 senses.
Yeah, the way we're designed is the 5 senses help us to build trust quicker and have memories and interactions with each other. It's a scientific deal. I mean, that's how we're designed. Now, if you take away a couple of those, you better be really good at the other ones in order to build trust, right? You better be having conversations in a way that's intelligent. It's to the point. It's quick. It's fast. Like you're able to get into the heart and mind of somebody, and they you as well, in an interaction that makes sense. Why would I spend time with you today, Chris? Because we have a lot to talk about. This is valuable. This is what will help the audience really make a difference in their businesses and in their nonprofit work, even and their volunteer work. All this it'll make a difference. So,
100%. So, okay, that covers a little bit of your background and philosophy of community and how to approach it. I like the implementing the senses. Let's get a little more granular. Where does your community live online?
So we're a Facebook group that also has a private element on Slack. And so what we've chosen to do is basically come on all to our free Facebook group. It is an invite only, and there is a threshold to be able to get in, but we make it free, and it's not something that I have to pay for. But then once our marketing professionals who are part of our network are able to become certified, then they end up getting through that second wall, which is the Slack channel. And then we start working on projects together. Super fun.
So to get in the inner layer, you must make it to the Slack universe of Timothy. Okay, cool. So that's a nice Facebook group. I'm going to throw this one at you because this just in last night. It was another, I can't remember his name right now. It was another like outbound sales Facebook group. Looked like they were doing some like quality content, quality things. And he said, "Hey, I'm moving my Facebook group to Twitter communities. Come check it out." Have you heard that? Like, to me, like, I've obviously, what's up, Jack? That, don't know Twitter that great, but it's there. But I was like, Twitter communities. I know there's Twitter Spaces. I don't know if that was like basically like the answer to Clubhouse or something. But Twitter community seems to be kind of answering for Facebook groups. What's your take on all this so far?
We're looking into it right now. I literally was just looking into this at like even deeper an hour ago before we even.
That's funny.
So it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that, especially since we're working with a lot of blockchain projects right now.
Yeah.
Just being able to have that community push into the Discord channels and to the other channels, and really, we're getting to a point, Chris, where we almost want to have community in multiple places.
Yeah.
Based on what people are used to, so that we're not having to retrain them to utilize the tools for that community.
Oh man. Okay. We need to hang on this for a second because number one, I have thoughts and feelings and problems, Timothy. And number two, if people aren't thinking about some of these things, it's only a matter of time before they'll be challenged to start thinking about them. So, this all being said, we'll keep talking about Twitter a little bit, but you mentioned Discord. I'm the adoption rate, and we can kind of slowly slide into the blockchain open loop to close it for everyone hanging there. But Discord is obviously very heavy in more of the gamer and crypto industries. Setting up a server. Let's just talk about user experience first. When I first went on Discord, I'm like, where am I? Okay, set up this message. It was kind of clunky for me. Was that your experience?
Well, let's just put it this way. That's everybody's experience with a new platform. And just because we're used to, 2 or 3 platforms, our audience might be more interested in some of the old school platforms or the new school platforms or whatever. We're all experiencing the same thing. We just don't remember that until we get into a new platform. I had the same
fair point, but Instagram was way easier than Discord though, right?
Yeah, Instagram. Yeah, Instagram is pretty. That's why it's taken off. I mean, it's just so easy. It's just But when it comes to building community, though, there's got to be some tools built into these platforms. Otherwise, you can't really facilitate all the sub conversations.
I totally agree. So this goes to the next place, right? So there's some resistance around, well, it's kind of hard, but it's like, yeah, but if people are into it, they're into it. Which brings us to this other place of, okay, well, now we're the agency, the community leader and founder that now has to manage support in Facebook group, in Twitter communities, in Discord, I don't know, your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I mean, our big mission is to serve causes and companies doing good in the world. So no matter what platform they're on, right now we're looking for specialists that can be community managers in each one of these ecosystems.
Okay.
This is where it's not just a want now, it's a need now. because of the sheer volume of people coming into these groups and communities and servers and all the channels, like everything. I, I need somebody to manage our Slack community because it's a paid community. It's very, very exclusive. Somebody to manage and monitor the Facebook/Meta group to make sure that people have questions that are answered and all that. And then now we're getting deeper into these technology companies that are doing good in the world. They're making a difference. And we need to make sure people have their questions answered quickly. Sometimes you can do it automated, obviously, in Discord and some other platforms allow for that more. But still, you still need a human eyeballs on this stuff just to make sure it's all functioning right.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, again, it comes down to that human to human connection and interaction with hopefully, one or two or more of the five senses that you mentioned earlier. So
there's a reason we call them bots, because they're like robots. They can do certain things really well, like better than humans.
Yeah. And then you dash a little AI in there and it's like, wow.
Good to go. Yeah. So you got a lot of that starting conversation that can really get moving, but then that human element has to really like soften or warm up that experience to a way to where people are like, why would I not work with this group? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Yep. The know, like, and trust journey. That's really powerful. It's fun to talk about some of the different different ways that you can, number one, form community, but then number two, where do you have community? Because you need to have an online presence, or I'd say need. I guess there's some models where it could just completely be offline, but man, there's a lot of benefit to figuring it out online. So hence our conversation now. Hey, so if people are leaning into community and they've heard you mention this, and they want to know more, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, givermarketing.com is just a basic, website to be able to click around. You'll see access to our community there. Up in the top section, you can click around and find our Facebook. By the time you're watching this, it's probably going to be a meta group, whatever you want to call it. That's a good watering hole. It's a place where we stream all of our content. And so you'll get kind of a blast of goodies for you to apply to your business, your organization, whatever you're doing.
Excellent. And when you say it'll probably be meta by the time, everyone sees this, especially if they're catching the replay, what do you mean?
Well, Facebook is rebranding and they're trying to figure out.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, just their brand name. Okay.
And it's funny because that word's going to be used in 3 different ways very, very soon. I mean, we got the metaverse, we got Meta, the brand.
So I was asking.
The experience called Meta, right? We're in the experience right now. So, like, depending on how you want to use that word, but I like to say that because I know this is going to be good recording for future benefit for others, and so you just want to keep up to date if you can.
Totally. No, I appreciate you saying that. I was just going in there because it's being that it's a newer topic can go a lot of different directions. And I think some of the game here, again, givermarketing.com to lean more into everything that Timothy has been talking about and around community. So it's a fun conversation. It'll continue to evolve, but still, like that, it always comes down to accomplishing or like connection. And a phrase that served me well in life that, if you go on my profile page, you'll see it and all the different things. It's to accomplish something greater than yourself. It takes more than yourself. And, I mean that, like, in marriage and parenting, in friendship, in partnership, in faith. It's like to accomplish something greater than yourself, it takes more than yourself. I only have finite wisdom and love. Yes, I get grumpy and hungry and tired. And so, hey, I appreciate you coming out, Timothy, and answering some of these questions. I did promise that we'd cover a little bit about blockchain and community. Where do those two meet?
Yeah, so bottom line is we're a network of marketing professionals who are helping causes and companies doing good in the world with their marketing efforts. Yeah. So we're a collective. And so with that comes this new and intriguing, or newish and intriguing, world of blockchain technology. I happen to be an early investor in the space, so it's kind of come with me into the business ventures. And so folks have been hearing about that. And now we have these projects where, gosh, community meets blockchain. I can't think of anything better to look into than something called a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization.
Okay.
And it basically provides a governance of your company or organization in a way that it's not dependent on one point of failure. In other words, a CEO goes off into left field, does something weird, like, or a leader of some part of the team. Like, it's not dependent upon one voice or a couple of voices or leadership in that way. There's still leadership involved in these type of organizations, but they're governed by a set of rules and technologies that allow for a safety net for the actual organization. It's super intriguing, and we're going to hear a lot more about this. This is the next wave as metaverse comes online, and then blockchains are taking over the banking systems, and just whatever. They're working together. They're figuring it out. All this happening, you're going to start hearing an actual business structure. Sole proprietorships, corporations, DAOs. It's going to be in the list of actual business structure. This is actually how. Yeah.
That's actually an angle I haven't quite heard yet. DAO being a business structure. So I'm registering with the county, and hey, are you an S corp, C corp, LLC partnership, whatever, and are you a DAO? That's what you're saying.
Are you a DAO? Yeah, they're going to start asking that in the next 10 years, or probably sooner than that. They're going to start asking if you're a registered this, and it's going to be on the list of business structures.
And is that like, I might not be saying the right thing. I'm learning, more about all this, but in terms of governance, I think of smart contracts.
It's a smart contract to govern your company.
Okay. So, correct. All right. I'm not, too far in left field. Maybe shortstop-ish, hanging.
Look, this is all new to all of us. So even if I probably said something a little bit off, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's such new territory, but I would definitely recommend if you're a community or a collaborative type organization, I would definitely look into that.
Yeah, and there's things that we're playing around with ourselves on different blockchains, offshoots of Ethereum. So we have a FlowChat coin. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that on this recording right now, but it doesn't have any utility at this point, but we're constantly looking at where does the tech and the utility meet? That's my interest point. Everyone has different interest points. You could just be investing in different coins, buying and selling. That's fine. There's smart contracts and different ways that you can facilitate transaction or offers, but it's nonetheless. What's not debatable is the adoption rate. It
ties right into our marketing and sales, because attention is the currency of marketing, which leads to the sales conversation if we earn the right and earn the trust to do so. And it's like electricity, man. It's going to change everything. So we got to pay real close attention to it. It's going to light everything up.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have to see how we're gonna utilize this for our respective ventures. Yep.
Well, not to go too deep in it, it was fun to play with it a little bit, and it'll be really fun to see. At least I mean, I know you and I are on the same page on this. Kind of business nerds, and also learning more about the tech, but how the tech improves and accelerates just transaction. If you're buying a home or buying other things, and there's a lot of different applications to the technology that.
Hey, shoot! I'll trade coins with you once we get everything dialed in on our end.
There you go.
I like swapping currency and assets of all different kinds, referrals, and whatever it takes to get business done, going, supporting the causes and companies we believe in.
And can we give a shout out to Timothy for a second? Check this out. He said this twice today. Here's his LinkedIn page, and if we're hanging out here and you zoom in here. Bringing positive attention to causes and companies doing good in the world. It's just like, well done, Timothy. Like it's branded there. You're saying it when you're showing up. I don't know. I thought it was cool, but on point, my friend. Hey, before as we wrap up here, the one question I like to end with everyone is essentially a why question. I'm going to keep talking a little bit to give you a second to think here. But what fascinates me about high performers, high achievers, that could be athletes, it could be musicians, actors, entrepreneurs, people that are just leaders and high performers. There's a huge sense of contribution, of creation, and with that comes a lot of vulnerability. And the person that continues to lean into that and step into that is something that inspires me and also scares me. And so I'm always curious to hear why others do that. So for you, as one of those people, what drives you and why do you do what you do?
Yeah, we want to see a world. I want to see a world personally where the right organizations get the proper amount of attention that they deserve. The ones that are doing something beneficial. And my why behind this is really the negativity that we see in the marketing space, in the world in general, in the media, like different forms of media. It's not okay. It's a complete suck of energy from our society, whether you're a person of faith or not. It just sucks the living daylights out of you. Yeah. And so we want to see that attention kind of ping over to the right organizations. And that's my big why, my big mission. We're helping churches, we're helping businesses. As long as you're doing something good in the world, I want to see that happen. Because my kids, they can't grow up in an era where everything's negative Nancy news and fear-based conversations. That's no wonder. Yeah, I don't want to get into like the mental illness conversation and all that, but it's affecting our bodies and our minds and our lives in such a way. I just want to see more of that, the light, the positivity shine through. So, yeah.
Right on, Timothy. Hey, well, I appreciate you coming on today.
Appreciate you, Chris. You're a rock star, and let's keep the conversation going. I love this.
Of course. Hey, and closing statements for today. Flow Chat fam, thank you for spending time with us. You can expect real people that are solving real problems on the front line every single week here. This is the place to come. Being an entrepreneur can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. So if you want to be surrounded by other like-minded people, this is definitely the content for you. And community and collaboration is definitely one of those next steps that you can take to go further, farther, and faster. We'll see you guys next time.